you may not expect it. The first sign of the body's decline isn't in the heart or liver, but right on your hair. The place that quietly reveals secrets even blood tests sometimes miss. I am Ethan Marshall, a 60-year-old physician in the United States, and I have spent more than 3 decades observing the silent rules that govern the human body. Today, I want to begin with a truth that may shock you. Many people don't realize that the very first signal of the body wearing down does not appear in the heart, the liver, or even blood pressure. It appears in the hair. Strange as it sounds, hair often speaks up long before illness is officially detected. If you care about the lesser-known truths of health, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video. That's how you help me continue creating content that is honest, meaningful, and beneficial for our community. When I was young, I heard the biblical story of Samson with a mix of curiosity and disbelief. A man with extraordinary strength because of his hair, and then he lost it all the moment his hair was cut? To me at that time, it was purely myth. But as I grew older, especially as I entered the medical field, I began to question whether those ancient stories held something we have overlooked. Every time a patient told me they felt weaker, more fatigued, less vibrant, they almost always added one detail. Their hair was falling out more than usual. That made me remember Samson in a very different light. Over many years of working with middle-aged and older patients, I noticed a recurring pattern. Their hair changed before any test result showed a problem. Hair became drier, weaker, thinner, and most notably, their sense of vitality seemed to diminish strand by strand. A 58-year-old man once told me, "Doctor, I don't know why, but every time I see my thinning hair, I feel like I'm fading with it." Strangely, he was right. Hair is one of the body's most sensitive indicators, reflecting internal energy, metabolic function, and the degree of hidden congestion we are often unaware of. Why does hair become such a clear mirror of health? Because it is nourished by the very blood that sustains your body. When vitality is abundant, hair tends to be thick, shiny, and strong. When the body begins to struggle, whether from stress, lack of sleep, or accumulated toxins, hair reacts almost immediately. Many people only notice when they see strands left behind in the sink. But the decline started long before that, deep within. Hair cannot speak, but it is the most honest messenger of the entire biological system we live in each day. And perhaps this is what Samson's story has been trying to remind us for thousands of years. Never ignore signals that seem ordinary. Hair, in its own way, always knows what is happening inside your body before you consciously do. Before we move on, let me ask you a question. If you woke up one morning and saw that your hair had noticeably thinned, what would you think it reflects? A. A simple hair issue. B. A deeper sign of internal health. Leave your answer in the comments. According to Arnold Ehret and related natural health perspectives, hair is not a passive, decorative structure, but an organ that reflects and participates in the body's physiological activity. It is described as a scent-emitting organ, and simultaneously functions as an antenna that receives and transmits vital energy, meaning it reflects internal conditions while sensing micro-environmental shifts around the body. This concept emphasizes the direct connection between hair quality and the integrity of the internal environment. When tissues and fluids are balanced, hair shows elasticity, shine, and structural strength. When mucus, toxins, or metabolic disturbances accumulate, changes in odor, texture, and growth appear as the earliest indicators. Functionally, hair follicles receive nutrients through microcirculation in the scalp, and therefore directly reflect the quality of the bloodstream. Any alteration in blood composition, oxygenation, or systemic inflammation can manifest as changes in hair characteristics. Moreover, viewing hair as an antenna, in both symbolic and physiological terms, highlights its sensitivity to external and internal forces, able to pick up environmental signals such as scent, temperature, humidity, and reflect interactions between the body and its surroundings. Ancient Essene traditions and other historical medical systems also support the idea that hair and beard are expressions of harmony between the body and natural laws. In this context, healthy hair signifies a body capable of receiving and regulating life energy and balance. Diagnostically, this approach recommends evaluating hair as part of a full-body assessment, examining color, shine, density, odor, and growth rate to gauge detoxification status, nutritional balance, and neurohumoral conditions. This reasoning moves beyond surface interpretation toward actionable principles. Improving the internal environment through diet adjustment, digestive optimization, enhanced detoxification, and stress regulation restores favorable conditions for the follicles, allowing hair to regain its natural antenna function. Ultimately, Ehret's framework and related traditions outline a logical cause and effect relationship between the internal environment and hair health, establishing hair as a multidimensional physiological indicator with value in evaluating overall well-being. Hair loss and baldness should be understood as internal symptoms with deep-rooted causes rather than isolated scalp issues. Evidence from digestive and colon health literature demonstrates a clear causal chain. When digestive and eliminative functions weaken, waste and mucus accumulate in the colon. An incomplete breakdown or fermentation generates harmful biochemical byproducts. These substances, including bacterial protein breakdown toxins and mucus-derived compounds, can enter the bloodstream through a compromised or overly permeable intestinal lining. Circulating toxins burden filtration organs such as the liver and kidneys, while altering the microcirculation that nourishes hair follicles. In this state, follicles experience dual impairment. Nutritionally, toxic blood reduces the availability of essential building blocks required for normal growth cycles. Physiologically, systemic inflammation and complex neural reflexes originating from colonic dysfunction disturb local homeostasis in the scalp, contributing to follicle miniaturization and shortened growth phases. Walker and Jensen describe this auto-intoxication phenomenon, emphasizing that surface symptoms, including hair changes, are often consequences of long-standing internal accumulation rather than primary scalp pathology. Manifestations such as dryness, brittleness, patchy shedding, vertex, or temporal thinning often coexist with chronic digestive symptoms like constipation, bloating, indigestion, or prolonged laxative use. Microbial dynamics also play a crucial role. When colonic flora shifts toward protein putrefaction dominance, metabolites such as aromatic amines, indole, skatole, ammonia, and volatile organic acids not only cause odor and irritation, but also contribute to systemic oxidative stress, impairing gas exchange and nutrient delivery in scalp capillaries. Additionally, neural pathways connecting the gut and central nervous system, as well as endocrine influences via the gut-ovary-adrenal axis, can alter hormonal balance surrounding the follicle, heightening sensitivity to hair shedding triggers. Clinically, this means diagnosing hair loss requires expanding beyond scalp-focused evaluations to include digestive history, dietary habits, eliminatory patterns, and signs of chronic toxicity. Effective intervention must therefore improve colon function, reduce toxic load, rebalance microbiota, and enhance blood quality, rather than relying solely on topical treatments or symptomatic scalp therapies. Fasting and detoxification methods are presented as core interventions for restoring physiological function and reestablishing an internal environment conducive to tissue regeneration, including hair follicles. In Ehret's work, prolonged fasting is described not merely as caloric reduction, but as a redirection of biological energy. When digestive demands lessen, energy is allocated to elimination and repair, enabling the breakdown and removal of accumulated mucus and metabolic waste within tissues. A striking example is Ehret's documented transformation after a 40-day fast, during which his hair exhibited notable recovery in density and vitality, interpreted as the outcome of deep detoxification, reducing strain on circulation and connective tissues, while improving microcirculation to the follicles. Physiologically, fasting facilitates the dismantling of accumulated tissue debris, supports removal of harmful metabolic byproducts, and lightens the burden on the liver, kidneys, and lymphatic system. The result is a lighter plasma composition with reduced inflammatory and toxic elements, creating a favorable biological setting for the hair growth phase. Clinical observations from Walker and Jensen reinforce this through numerous cases showing improvements in skin, hair, and digestive symptoms after colon cleansing, dietary adjustments, irrigation therapies, and intermittent fasting. Effective implementation requires a staged approach: preparatory dietary shifts to reduce mucus load, controlled fasting phases to activate endogenous detoxification, and recovery phases emphasizing regenerative nutrition. Supporting practices such as colon irrigation, gentle movement, and electrolyte balance are described as enhancing elimination and circulation. In practice, significant improvements in hair quality often follow reductions in clinical markers of hepatic strain, renal dysfunction, or systemic inflammation, suggesting fasting's benefits extend beyond the temporary toward long-term restoration of the follicular environment. In summary, fasting and detoxification techniques are grounded in clear theoretical rationale. They reduce internal inhibitory factors, restore plasma and connective tissue balance, and create conditions that allow follicles to resume normal growth, provided these methods are performed safely and with proper guidance. Across all analyses and arguments presented, one central conclusion emerges. Hair is not an isolated aesthetic feature, but a refined, continuous indicator of internal biology. Observing hair, its density, texture, shine, and shedding pattern allows us to read physiological signals reflecting the clarity or congestion of internal processes. This insight carries two major implications. First, surface-level hair care offers only temporary results if internal root causes remain unaddressed. Healthy hair is the natural outcome of a harmonious internal system, not the product of topical treatments alone. Second, hair assessment must be integrated into a holistic health evaluation, as it mirrors plasma quality, eliminatory function, and systemic balance. Sustainable intervention, therefore, must prioritize improving digestive function, controlled detoxification, and microbial balance, foundational requirements for normal follicular activity, rather than relying exclusively on surface-level solutions. Additionally, hair serves as a barometer of how well the body aligns with its external environment. Maintaining circadian rhythms, managing stress, and adopting appropriate nutritional habits are essential elements of long-term care. Ultimately, hair does not lie. It reflects the lived history of habits and biological states. Thus, holistic care of hair becomes both an early detection tool and a roadmap for restoring vitality. To cultivate truly healthy hair, one must first care for the internal terrain. For only when the root is renewed can the branches flourish. Across all analysis, hair emerges as a highly sensitive indicator of internal health, directly reflecting plasma quality, digestive efficiency, and detoxification status. Weakening, shedding, or textural change is not a superficial issue, but a signal of deeper imbalance, from its role as a vitality antenna to the mechanisms linking hair loss to congestion and toxicity, and finally the restorative potential of detoxification and controlled fasting. The overarching message is that healthy hair is inseparable from a well-functioning system. External treatments offer only temporary benefits unless the internal foundation is restored. A practical insight is to use hair as a daily health monitor. If it deteriorates, it signals the need to adjust habits, reduce digestive burden, improve nutrition, and support elimination. Long-term hair health begins with long-term internal care. In your opinion, which factor most strongly affects hair health? Internal toxic buildup or external hair care products? Share your answer in the comments. To receive a free in-depth Healing Health ebook, please leave your information in the form in the description. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video to help spread valuable knowledge and support the continued growth of this channel.